Hello, everyone. Welcome to the State of the Sun Devils pregame show. A little different today on just YouTube, but we're going to wait for a few minutes for people to get in here, and then we will get started with our pregame show. Thanks, everyone, for being in here. For all the information that you need throughout the game, you can go to our Twitter page. Jesse's going to be tweeting all throughout the game on the State of the Sun Devils Twitter page. That's at AZ Sports Devils. We'll have content on ArizonaSports.com, the Arizona Sports app. Damon is going to be writing from the game. I will be on the field taking pictures. It's going to be lovely. It's going to be a good game.
We're excited for the pictures.
Yeah. All right.
And listen to the game at 1 o'clock on Arizona Sports 98.7 and the Arizona Sports app with the great Tim Healy and Jeff Van Raphorst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. With that, we're going to get started. 3, 2, 1. Hello. Welcome into another edition of State of the Sun Devils alongside Jesse Morrison and Damon Allred. I'm Jeremy Schnell. A huge matchup today in Tempe as Arizona State takes on number 7, Texas Tech. And guys, that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with the ramifications of a win or a loss. If ASU wins this game, huge for everything that's going to happen in the Big 12 this season. Damon, just give a little synopsis of what this game means overall for both teams in this season.
Yeah, obviously, just with the tiebreakers involved, you need to beat the best teams to have a chance to kind of win out any tiebreakers at the end of the season. As we saw last year, those really come into play in the Big 12, just with 16 teams and no divisions. It can get kind of confusing at times, as we saw, and it would be huge to have a win over Texas Tech, not only for the Big 12 implications, but just for what it could mean as far as getting back into the national picture of that perception as well. What really comes down to the big part of it today is the holy war going on up north in conjunction with this. Because if Texas Tech and BYU both win their respective games today, you're probably looking at those two in the Big 12 title game. But if ASU and Utah win their respective games, then you're in a situation where all 4 of Texas Tech, Utah, ASU, and BYU have one conference loss, and they're all to each other. And so that would set us up wonderfully for that 4 teams tied at the end of the season situation that we had last year.
Yeah, Jesse, it's so much going on, and it's so early in the season technically, but with the way the Big 12 has shook out in, last season specifically, it was down to the final week of figuring out who's going to be in that title game. So it's tiebreakers, it's everything in between. That is happening this week in week 8 of the season, week 9 of the season, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big game. All of these games are big, because of the tiebreakers, and people like to say that the regular season doesn't matter as much anymore in college football. It definitely matters in the Big 12, because the perception of the Big 12 is that it's not as good as the other 3 Power 4 conferences, and so these games matter because if it might be a one-bid league, and so you've got to get these tiebreakers in order to, get to the Big 12 championship, and you kind of have to win the Big 12 championship and get into the playoff that way in this conference. So,
specifically with some of the Group of 5 teams, I mean, there's no guarantee that this league is an automatic bid league.
I mean, I think it will be. Texas Tech, this team that we're seeing today is a national.
But it have to go very wrong for the Big 12 to not get a bid.
But it's something that we were talking about going into the last week of the season last year. So
huge game, and this is definitely why the regular season still matters in college football, especially in the Big 12.
Big day for me, because it's 82 degrees. It's beautiful. The only bad part is it's sunny. And if you don't know, I'm on the field taking pictures throughout the game. Damon is up in the press box writing articles. Jesse is live tweeting, giving all his analysis on Twitter, on our Twitter. That's at AZ Sports Devils if you want to follow us there. But 82 degrees, sunny, 1 p.m. kick, local time, not AZT,
we love a day
whatever
game.
That means.
Azerbaijan?
Yeah.
Arizona time works. Mountain Standard time works. Yeah. Those are the two.
Now let's get into this game, because the big thing that everyone's talking about is the quarterback matchup. We're Morton is going to be active, it seems. But he's not. But he's not going to play.
Those are the reports. Will Hammond is going to start, but Baron Morton will be available off the bench if need be. We've seen Baron Morton play in many of these games and come out of many of these games with injuries. And so Will Hammond finally getting his first start of the season. He did get a start last year in their bowl game when Morton was also injured. Boy, this Morton guy gets injured a lot.
He seems like the modern day Cam Rising.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Modern day.
But it's interesting because Texas Tech seems to have an answer at their backup quarterback position.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a lot different. It's a different kind of style of game that he plays, that Hammond plays, as opposed to Morton. He can really make things happen with his feet. That's something that ASU struggled with last week against Utah, Damon.
Yeah, he's got about 10 yards per carry on the season, which is just ridiculous. He's very much in the vein of that Sam Leavitt type of runner who can make you pay with big chunks. I mean, when it was in that Utah game and he came in for, I believe, during their first drive of the second half, and a couple of drives with some punts, but then by the fourth quarter, he really turned it on, and the first thing that got him going was a 32-yard run, and then from there it was he's dealing. And so you don't want him to be able to get in a rhythm with his feet. We've heard Kenny Dillingham talk about how Sam Leavitt uses his feet to get in a rhythm at times. You don't want to see Will Hammond have that same experience.
Yeah, I think with Will Hammond, I think that his passing stands out to me, though. Yes,
Really?
He's a great runner, but when I watched their big win against Utah a few weeks ago, Morton went out, Hammond came in, and Hammond was slinging it. And he had a great touchdown throw to the end zone. I believe it was a back shoulder fade. It was really nice. It was a really nice ball. And then he had another one that could have been picked, but it was just rifled in there so fast that there was no chance for the defender to get there. And so, his completion percentage is about 67%, and Baron Morton's is about 68%. So I don't know. I think that he might be the better of the two just because of what he can do on the ground. And I think ASU has their work cut out for them.
And he's reliable, it seems.
Yeah, he's reliable. I mean, again, like I said, I was joking about the whole modern day Cam Rising thing, but that was just a joke about how long he was in college. But it seems like Baron Morton's status is always up in the air. So, I mean, maybe this is the opportunity for Will Hammond to just take this job and go for it. Unless ASU can say something about it and Sam Leavitt can say something about it, and it looks like he's going to be back today.
And they notably have Will Hammond on a 2-year deal, which you don't hear about a lot in college football, but it's notable in 2025.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about Sam Leavitt. He's been probable all 3 days this week on the injury report, obviously.
Nice to not get that sudden turn to doubtful like last week.
Well, that is why we are doing this podcast live on Saturday morning, because we wanted to make sure that didn't happen again and make sure we were as up to date as we could possibly be on the Sam Leavitt situation. ASU needs Sam Leavitt to win football games. Yeah. And that's obvious.
Especially this one.
That was obvious last week against Utah with Jeff Sims in there. Again, we can go over it real quick. Jeff Sims, not the entire reason that ASU lost the game.
But I think it's the confidence thing.
Yes, and did contribute to the reason that ASU lost that game.
Again, I think it's the confidence thing. I think, and this is not the best thing to say, but I think ASU kind of quits when Sam Leavitt is not in, and that's what they did last week. And as soon as Utah got a sizable lead there, ASU was just not playing as hard as they normally do. And hopefully the physicality in practice this week, they tackled to the ground, will change some of that. And then just having Sam Leavitt back, I think there's something that he brings to the table leadership-wise that, that whoever else they've had starting quarterback there, Jeff Sims is not that guy. Like they for some reason they can't rally around him.
What worries me though, Damon, is the defensive line of Texas Tech. Obviously, they're going to be missing one of their stars on the defensive line, but with ASU missing Ben Coleman now for the season, and now Sam coming off of injury, you don't want to see Sam out there running for his life, but this could be a game where he's going to have to use his legs a lot, specifically because of how good this Texas Tech defensive line is.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up the point about each side kind of missing one of the key guys on their lines.
Skylar
Gill-Howard is out for a while now, it seems like, for Texas Tech. And then Ben Coleman as well. Obviously, those are huge guys for each team, but Texas Tech has a lot more insulation around Gill-Howard to withstand that than ASU has around Coleman to withstand theirs. So I think the key is going to be something that we saw last night in Friday's Louisville-Miami game, where we know Miami has an incredible pass rush and they played like it, but the way Miller Moss was getting the ball out super fast really negated that. And I think that's going to be the key for Sam Leavitt in this game, because there are some reads that you can get the ball out within 1 second of the snap. And there were plenty of those out in practice this week where it was an area of emphasis for them. Jordan Tyson, that's got to be an area where Jordan Tyson is getting the ball within a second of the snap, and Sam Leavitt's making it easier on his receivers, easier on his line, and I think that's kind of where the recipe starts today.
Yeah, this is a game where I think ASU should run a lot out of the shotgun, because shotgun throws, you can just get the ball out really quickly, and I think this is an opportunity to do that for ASU. So I want to see mostly shotgun for them today. And yeah, I mean, I need, this is a big game for Jamedo Obibo. This might be like his biggest game. We need to
get right game.
Yeah, get right game. He needs to avoid the penalties and just block better. That's like, he really just needs to step up. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's got to be a lot better than he was last week.
But Damon, I feel like we talk about this every week: the quick passing game, the short passing game, the screen game, and we don't see it enough. Is today a day where we have to see it for ASU to be successful?
I definitely think you have to see it. And I do think that in the Baylor game and in the TCU game, they were getting more of it. Coming into the season, they talked it up a big amount, just as far as, this is the area where Sam Leavitt has improved the most, the rhythm reads and things like that. We didn't see it in the first 3 or 4 games, but over the last few that Sam played, it was starting to become more of the offense and more reliable on that front. And I do think that just because of how much you must do that against this Texas Tech defensive line, that Marcus Arroyo recognizes that, and it's a big part of the game plan this week.
Now let's talk about the running game. Obviously, we touched on the defensive line of Texas Tech. Kanye Udo is probable, missed Wednesday with an illness, so will we see more of man-man? Probably.
Demarius Robinson, if you're unfamiliar.
Yes, Demarius Robinson. Kyson Brown, quote, out for the foreseeable future.
Until at least the next bye.
Okay, so that's
really unfortunate season for him so far.
Friend of the pod.
Yeah, friend of the pod. He got off to such a great start against NAU, and then since then, he's just battled injuries.
Yeah, which is tough. But that puts a lot on Raleek Brown. And, he's answered the bell so far this season, Damon. But today's a huge game against the number 7 team in the country.
Yeah, after last game against TCU where he had 30 touches, which I'm sure is a career high for him, he tweeted the next morning, I don't mind more touches, that sort of thing. And it's really going to be a situation where they're going to have to pile those on him because, Man-Man's probably going to play, and Man-Man's probably going to play a lot, as Kenny alluded to on Sparky's Den this week when Man-Man was actually on with Luke Lipinski and all them. It was a fun show. It's going to be a bad situation going against this line, though, because if you look at the games that Texas Tech has played and what they've held their opponents to in the rushing game, it has been suffocating against that defense. Jesse, you want to?
Yeah, I got it. Arkansas Pine Bluff averaging 142.6 yards on the season rushing. Texas Tech allowed 53 in that game. Kent State 85.7. Texas Tech allowed 63. This is the one that stands out. Oregon State is averaging over 100 yards rushing per game. This year, when they're in the game against Texas Tech, they ran for 8 yards.
That's not a lot, is it?
No, not a lot.
Not very good.
Utah averages.
Oregon State also not very good.
Yeah, Utah averages about 250 yards per game, and
250 yards.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I thought you said 100.
No, they average about 250 yards per game, and Texas Tech held them to 101.
That's huge. I mean, ASU gave up 120 yards to Devin Dampier alone, and Utah only ran for 101 against Texas Tech.
Houston 159.2, and Texas Tech allowed a season high 103, and then Kansas averages 155 yards, and Texas Tech allowed 47. So this game is going to come down to who can win the line of scrimmage, like most football games, and who can run the football. And I think Texas Tech has the edge in that department just because they have a really good dynamic duo of running backs in Jacoby Williams and Cameron Dickey. Cameron Dickey went off last week. Both these guys have combined for over 900 yards of rushing through 6 games this year. So, I mean,
that's without the guy from USC that many people thought were going to be the big runner.
So they're deep in the running back room but ASU is depleted. So I don't know. I think it's going to be. This one's tough for ASU.
It is. It's going to be tough. And because of those stats that you read, it's going to put a lot more on Jordan Tyson and Sam Levitt to be those guys that, we know they can be. And we've seen sparks of it. We've seen huge games from Jordan Tyson. And obviously last week, it was tough to get him the ball. They had to get him some touches in the running game because of it.
Yeah, his first rushing touchdown of his career, actually.
So, does this game come down to if Sam Levitt can be a pocket passer or not?
Yeah, I mean, for me, what it's going to come down to is if ASU can keep it close enough for long enough that it makes Texas Tech uncomfortable. Because the only time they've been in a close game all year was in the fourth quarter against Utah when it was a one-score game, and then Will Hammond rattles off 24 unanswered points to run away with that game. ASU, if they can get to the fourth quarter and it's still within one possession, and ASU is a team that really thrives in close games, and Texas Tech just doesn't have that experience. I think that's when maybe Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson can kind of take a hold of this game and say, we're the ones that have succeeded in these situations. We're going to be the ones that do it right now.
So I'm going to go back, and this is a ridiculous callback that I don't know how I remember it off the top of my head. But the way I want ASU to play this game is I do want them to just stick to the run and just continue to go at that Texas Tech defensive line and try to wear them out. Similar to what we saw last year against Texas in the Peach Bowl with Cam. Just wear them out until finally they break. And I'm going to bring back a Thursday night game from 2013 between Stanford and Oregon. And it was a big one. It was a big game. And Stanford won this game 26-20, and they gave the ball to their running back Tyler Gaffney 45 times. He only ran for 157 yards on those 45 carries, but I just remember him wearing down that Oregon defense. And ASU needs to do that today.
I don't know.
Poll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Great job, first of all, for remembering that. I don't know if that's possible against. I heard someone say it this week. I don't remember if it was on Burns and Gambo or Wolf and Luke, but you look at this Texas Tech defense and specifically their defensive line, it looks like an SEC defensive line. The best defensive line money can buy, specifically.
Cody Campbell.
Tell us who Cody Campbell is, Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse, please.
Cody Campbell is the billionaire oil guy that funds this Texas Tech team.
And used to play for Texas Tech.
Yep, and used to play.
And is also a bit of a federal lobbyist at this point.
And he's on the line. He played on the line for Texas Tech.
Trenches.
So he really gets how the trenches are so valuable.
Yep. So ASU needs some oil guy that likes the trenches.
I'm specifically worried about that, though. I'm worried about the trenches. I'm worried about the offensive line. Wade Helton was limited this week. So
Wade Helton was in and out of practice. Makua Pule got some first-team reps at center, which most of his in-game reps have come as a fullback in those jumbo packages. Right. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
From last year, mostly.
Get Kanye in there. Do the jumbo packages on the goal line.
Kanye's had some snaps at fullback in practice, so yeah. But And then another guy to look for is freshman Makai Stewart. Got some looks at guard this week in practice. You worried a little bit there, Jesse?
Just the term freshman.
Well, Wade Helton is a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, redshirt freshman and freshmen are different.
Sam Levitt was a redshirt freshman last year.
Again, but we have no idea. Like, we haven't seen this guy.
It's scary to think about.
What if he's a boat? It could even be a boat.
That'd be great. That'd be great. But it just scares me, the term freshman starting against this defensive line. But still, I still want...
starting.
You watch the...
Or not starting, but playing a major role against this defensive line.
One of Miami's best players yesterday from the game against Louisville. What was Louisville?
Louisville.
Tony, he's 17 years old, right? Like, so
Ryan Williams was 17 years old.
Correct. So like you can have these guys that are freshmen and end up being good.
I feel like he would be starting if he was some prodigy.
I mean, you're onto something. But,
so that scares me.
Yeah. Again, probable. Wade Helton.
Yeah.
So that's what matters here. ASU needs a guy who can snap the ball to Sam Levitt. And hopefully Wade Helton can be that guy today.
Yeah.
Let's get to predictions, boys. Who wants to go first? Damon, Jesse?
I'll go first.
Yeah, Damon, do it.
I'm feeling 31-17 Texas Tech in this one, to be honest. I think it might be a close game by the time they get to the fourth, but I do think just the overwhelming nature of these lines on both sides might be too much to overcome.
Texas Tech just has too much firepower on the offensive and defensive line, even with the injuries that they have on the defensive line. And their running game, I think, is better than ASU's. And I think that Sam is going to be under a lot of pressure today. It's going to be great to have him back. I do think it's going to be a little bit closer than last week, but I am going to say 35-24 Texas Tech.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, no.
You're not going to do this, are you?
I got Texas Tech.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think
He Ryan Seacrest today.
I think they're really good. And we talked about it before the season, guys, that it may take time for this Texas Tech team to gel. We saw them gel. We've seen them gel right away. And, I mean, it wasn't a bad take at the time because you never know when you bring in a huge transfer portal class what it's going to look like. They've looked like a top 5 team in the country.
And there's a reason for that, I think, for why they've gelled so quickly. Is just because the leaders that they have on both sides. Jacob Rodriguez is an incredible linebacker. Baron Morton is a really good leader as a quarterback. I just think that that's a big reason why they've been able to gel so quickly, and credit to them for that.
I've got Texas Tech 42-24.
Wow.
Yeah, I think ASU can't deal with the defensive line pressure. I think their defensive line is going to be okay and better than they were last week, but in the end, I think Texas Tech pulls away in the end.
You guys excited for the Sun Bowl if that happens?
Yeah,
That's where ASU's headed, basically.
well, they still need to win 2 more games.
Yeah, but I'm sure they will. But like, it seems like a Sun Bowl or Alamo Bowl trip if they, maybe a Holiday Bowl trip if they.
I'm just focused on today.
Yeah, focus on the now.
Yeah,
One day at a time, Jesse.
Okay.
One day, just
got to keep working, keep chopping.
Yep, keep grinding.
Yep.
Nose to the grindstone.
Yep.
Grind day.
Bring your lunch pail to work.
That's going to do it for this edition of State of the Sun Devils. Thank you so much for listening and watching live on YouTube. You can follow us on all forms of social media at AZ Sports Devils. For Jesse Morrison and Damon Allred, I'm Jeremy Schnell. We'll talk to you after the game. Wait. Okay. Give it a sec.
Stream finished.